LEGO Star Wars 2026 set rumors are crazy, and we aren't even done with 2025 yet. So let's go over every set rumored for 2026 so far, and we will start in release order with the January wave. And it is extremely packed with sets, and we have a polybag set with the TIE Advanced. That's going to be with 68 pieces, and we can assume it's going to have your standard $5 price tag. Could this be a May UCS set this year? Probably not. They really haven't been doing the whole polybag following with a UCS set recently, but it could be one we can see in the near future. Then we also have a Darth Vader TIE Advanced set coming out with 473 pieces and a retail price of $70. We can expect to see Darth Vader, maybe a Stormtrooper, and an Imperial officer like Tarkin, or maybe they'll throw someone completely different in that we haven't had before. Set 75423 is going to be Luke Skywalker's Red 5 X-Wing. Yes, another X-Wing is going to be on shelves, with 2 retiring with the UCS set and then the TIE Fighter and X-Wing mashup. But this one is going to be rather interesting with 584 pieces, but an insane price of $100. What are they going to include in this to make it seem worth $100? The current rumor, we have a sketch of a light brick being incorporated, or one of those smart bricks, I should say. And when you hold it, depending on how you swoosh it around, it can make sounds, and that's cool and all, but is it really going to be $100 worth? I don't know. This is going to have to include probably 6 or 7 minifigs to make it seem worth that $100. We're going to see Luke, we're going to see R2. Those are 2 guaranteed minifigs in X-Wing. And who else? Maybe we could see Leia, maybe C-3PO. I don't know. They're going to have to throw characters in, some people from the Rebel Alliance, because $100, 584 pieces, price per piece doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. But there are certain scenarios like this when you just look at those 2 things and you're like, something's not adding up. A little bit of a better price is with set 75436, the Mandalorian and Grogu speeder bike, 58 pieces, $10. It's going to include a Mando and Grogu minifig, but the Mandalorian fig is heavily rumored to be the same as the UCS Razor Crest Mando, which, depending on what side of the fence you are on with exclusive minifigs, you're either extremely excited about that because you don't need to go out and spend the $600 on the set or however much that minifig is going for, or you're upset saying you're spending X amount of dollars on a set, it should be exclusive, but I'm not here to debate that. I am excited to see what this one looks like. You're going to get 2 very popular figs for what seems like a rather good price. And with the Mando movie coming out, Mandalorian sets are definitely going to be a common theme. 75437 Cobb Vanth Speeder is going to have 207 pieces, $35. And obviously Cobb Vanth is going to be in it. And I believe Cad Bane is also rumored to be in this as well. So if you're someone who missed out on the justifier to getting yourself a Cad Bane, you have an opportunity here to get one, and it will be much cheaper, may I add. Instead of that $170 for that set, now this is going to be $35. And we're going to get Cobb Vanth for the first time ever with the Boba Fett armor, which is going to be absolutely just really cool to have, and I'm excited for this set. 75440 is going to be a Hoth AT-AT, and this is going to be shockingly in the Midi-scale or Starship collection line. 525 pieces, $65. I thought this line was strictly going to be Starships. I guess LEGO is going back on their word, and they're going to include an AT-AT, and that's the smart decision because we've been wanting an AT-AT ever since this line was brought back to us a few years ago, and we've gotten some awesome ships, but they were really putting a limit on what they can do by having it with strictly Starships. Now, if you want, you can do a Midi-scale ATTE, Turbo Tank, you could do a Midi-scale ATST. There's so many different vehicles you can do now, and an AT-AT is a perfect segue into going in with that. Maybe they'll include a snow speeder as well, wrapping around the legs of the AT-AT walker. I doubt that, but I'm sure some of you will have some awesome mocks to incorporate with this set for a snow speeder. The other set in the Midi-scale line is 75441 with a Venator, 643 pieces. It's going to be $80, so on the more expensive side for these types of sets, and I'm excited. We had the Acclimator last year. Many people thought it was going to be a perfect pairing with the UCS Venator at the current time, and a year later, I believe the Venator should be on its way out in 2026, so they will have a Midi-scale one on shelves which is absolutely going to be another great set. So I guess the big question is going to be, Will it have the red bridge, the flagship one that we've seen with the UCS set, or are they going to have the standard gray bridge that many fans were hoping that UCS one was going to be? Either way, red bridge, gray bridge, I don't care. And Midi-scale Venator is going to be very, very exciting. All we need now is another playset, maybe 2027 or 2028, and then we can complete a long-awaited trifecta of remodeled Venators. 75443 is going to be Grogu's Homestead. It's going to be a 4+ set, 107 pieces, $20. So not the worst priced 4+ set that we've seen before. Yes, I'm looking at you, Crimson Firehawk. But from what the rumors are saying, it's going to be more of another smaller buildable Grogu instead of an actual homestead or hut or whatever you'd expect. So that's going to be, I believe, the third buildable Grogu we will ever have. We're going to have this one, the 4+ one. Then you have the Grogu and Pram. Then you have the one from, 2019. That was the first one. So a lot of buildable Grogus, but I still think this should be a great seller. Set 75448 is going to be the Clone Shock Trooper mech with 151 pieces and a retail price of $15. And it's hard to say I really care for this set. As you guys know, I am not the biggest fan of the mech line. It doesn't really interest me all too much. The Clone Trooper is probably going to have helmet holes, which a lot of people won't be happy about, but I don't really care too much, especially since I don't care about the mech line, so it's not going to affect me. But I'd much rather them get rid of the mech line and have another microfighter there instead of this, but I'm sure they must be selling well if LEGO keeps on making them. So who knows? I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon, but I still think there's much cooler characters that you can have a mech of instead of a Clone Shock Trooper. A reasonably priced battle pack is back once again with 75449, the Siege of Mandalore battle pack, 116 pieces, $23. It's going to have 2 332nd Troopers, it's going to have 2 Super Commandos for the Mandalorian side, and that is going to be rather exciting. It's going to be great to have more Mandalorian troops to army build, as well as some 332nd Troopers, even though we just had the 332nd Battle Pack released not too long ago. But either way, this is a very long overdue Battle Pack, but it's nice to see a $45 Battle Pack not here in January. But rounding off January is 75452, the buildable BB-8 droid, 569 pieces, $90. It's going to be in that downscale theme that we've seen before with sets like the new R2-D2, like Chopper, the ones that can be in scale with Chewbacca, C-3PO, all of that. So if you have the older one, this one probably isn't going to be a must buy for you. But if you're someone like me who missed out on that older one, this is your only opportunity to get BB-8, but it's nice to see LEGO throwing some sequel sets on shelves for us. Movies weren't great, but they did have some nice sequel sets. March is a month that we really don't know too much about. We have sets 75420, which is going to be a 6+ set for $40, 75422, an 8+ set for $70, 75424, a 7+ set for $50, and 75425, an 8+ set for $80. And we don't have any details on any of those sets. Everything is unknown at this current moment. I would love to say that 2 of those sets could be a helmet line set, but as we know, helmets are going away for this year, as we'll get to in a moment. I would assume the safe thing is going to be Mandalorian sets, but who knows? Leave your guesses in the comments below. Additionally, there is a polybag in March, but we don't know anything about it. We just know it's going to be a polybag. So once again, we have no idea what's happening in the month of March with LEGO Star Wars. But before we get on to May, I want to mention there are 3 sets. Once again, we don't have any idea of what month they're going to release. And that's going to be 75459, a 14+ set. We're going to have 2 Mandalorian and Grogu sets, one 8+ with 75460, and one that's going to be 12+ with set 75461. So once again, just like with the March sets, leave your guesses in the comments below. But then we move on to the last month of stuff that we know of with May, and we are going to start off with the bust line like I mentioned before with 75438. The Yoda bust is going to have 399 pieces and retail for $50, and 75439 is going to be the Darth Vader bust, 349 pieces, $60. Just like with the Darth Vader helmet, $10 more. That Darth Vader tax is alive and well. How do I feel about this bust line replacing the helmet line? I am not too happy with that. I thought the helmet line was great. The Marvel side of things have these busts, and they were overpriced. They are rather small. I want to say they're about 6.5 inches tall. And for what they're charging for these, the price just doesn't add up with what you're getting with the set. So right off the bat, Yes, we're probably going to be getting minifigs of Yoda and Darth Vader. And yes, it will allow them to make more characters like General Grievous, C-3PO. Maybe we could have a Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett, Jango Fett. I get all of that. There's more flexibility with what you can make. But at the same time, I thought the helmet line was so good and it just felt like a better value for your money. But what doesn't seem like it's going to be a good value for your money is 75444, the 7 Plus set for $45 with 297 pieces. And if we go back not too long ago to August, this is very similar to the 327th Battle Pack. Both 7 Plus, both $45, similar in piece count. So this really has me thinking that we could have another Battle Pack for $45 on our hands, and that would just be wild. We see what the fans are saying about that. There is time between now and then for LEGO to reduce the price on this. Once again, these are rumors. Everything is subject to change. Then we're going to move on to 3 sets, which are all Mando and Grogu sets with 75445. We don't have a piece count yet, but we have a price of $75. Not sure what this could be, but the next 2 sets, I am much more optimistic on my predictions with 75446, 1,200 pieces with $130, and 75447. 930 pieces, $150. And I think with these last 2 sets I listed, it's going to be a Razor Crest and an AT-AT Walker. In that leaked trailer that's been surfacing around for the last few months now, we've seen Mando going into an AT-AT Walker, and we've seen Zeb on the Razor Crest with Mando, which I would assume the Razor Crest would probably be the $130 and the AT-AT Walker would be the $150 one. It easily can be flipped around, but I would assume in the AT-AT Walker, Mando will be in it, Grogu, you'll have to throw in a AT-AT driver, some snowtroopers, whoever. The Razor Crest, on the other hand, you have to have Zeb in there, and that's a way for them to overcharge for what I would assume is going to be a much downscaled Razor Crest compared to the last play scale one a few years back. But we get Zeb, who we haven't had in a number of years, and we probably won't get again for a number of years until they put him in the UCS Ghost, whenever that will come out. So that's a way for LEGO to say, you know what, you want Zeb, you're going to have to pay more than you want. But hey, the Razor Crest, I'm sure it'll be great. We're going to get Zeb in it, as I would hope so, and I'm sure that that will be something that fans will heavily flock to the LEGO store for. The AT-AT Walker, on the other hand, it has been a decent amount of time since a play scale AT-AT was on shelves. You advertise it with the Mando movie, and this is going to be a hit, and people love collecting the AT-AT Walkers, and they have another one right here, which is going to probably be another hit to the collection. But that's everything we know so far for 2026 LEGO Star Wars sets. We don't know anything about the 2 or maybe even 3 UCS sets. If I were to predict on what we could see as far as UCS sets, I'd say the May one would be an N1 Starfighter for Mando, and then the end of the year, the big set would probably be a UCS Ghost. As far as what that 3rd summer UCS set could be, I'm not sure if they will even continue with that or if that was just a one-off thing this past year. We have 2026 sets right here in front of us that we have discussed, and I am super excited for this, as I am for the rest of 2025. So let me know what you think about all of these sets in the comments below. What are you most excited for, and what else do you think we can get for next year? Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more LEGO content, and I'll see you in the next one.